City Hall Park, Financial District, New York City, New York. Sunshine graces the water along the Hudson River. The sidewalks of Lower Manhattan are empty and eager for the footsteps of morning commuters. In a plaza in the Financial District, a translucent orb forms. Gusts of a distant, estranged wind toss trash, leaves, and old movie tickets around the globular anomaly. Lightning strikes. In an instant, a man falls to the ground. His legs land in perfect splits, parallel with the ground. He checks the time on his watch. 7:05 a.m., 2001.
And with time to spare.
Timecop, a sleek, futuristic, yet still 1980s Jean-Claude Van Damme pops onto his feet from the splits.
It smells like time has been protected and served.
Suddenly, a cage made of wicked hot lasers surrounds Timecop. A man in a trench coat and fedora appears from the shadows.
Well, look who decided to show up.
What is this?
Timecop's captor flicks off his fedora, spinning it down his arm and tossing it into the air. With his arms spread, his trench coat falls to the floor, revealing his identity as none other than the modern-day 62-year-old version of Jean-Claude Van Damme. His snakeskin leather suit would make the average onlooker take pause, but only for an instant, until they notice the opulent glass eye emerging from his skull.
Look familiar?
Timecop, now stunned, sees a mirror image of himself. Only, older, I guess. Yeah, math checks out, I think. Timecop is 1994 Jean-Claude Van Damme, but his Timecop character takes place in 2004. So, yeah, something like that, I guess. I hate time travel shit.
I'm you. You're me. And I can't let you do what you're about to do.
What? You'll never get away with this. You're sick.
I will get away with this. I need to do everything in my power to stop you. Because of our life has fallen apart. All because you just had to be a hero.
The thousands of lives in those buildings mean a hell of a lot more than whatever sorry-ass life you're living, pal.
You might see it that way now. But when you become the enemy, you'll be persecuted, shunned, hunted. You'll never sleep another restless night. Your kids, gone. Your wife, gone. Your eye, also gone. And you can't even end it because...
Oh my god, shut up. You can't possibly be me. I'd never be such a whiny ass.
Whiny ass?
Yeah, you're a whiny ass. You make me sick. Also, I can smell your glass eye from here. Freaking stinks.
This is a top-of-the-line prosthetic, you ignorant fool. God, that was so stupid back then.
Stupid? Who you calling stupid? At least I could beat your ass.
Oh, is that right? I may be old, but I'm a far better fighter than you'll ever be. More muscle on me now, too.
Modern-day elderly Jean-Claude rips off his snakeskin shirt, revealing a mega pack of abs and a chest covered in oil.
Is that supposed to impress me?
Timecop rips off his own shirt, revealing just as many abs and just as oiled of a chest.
Okay, Mr. Tough Guy. If you're so strong, let's see what you got.
Old Van Damme turns off the laser cage and the two Jean-Claudes run at one another at full speed. One of them significantly faster than the other. Just then, a large bang oscillates through the air. A small child's face flies into 2023 Jean-Claude Van Damme, exploding him on sight. Behind the smoking remains of greasy one-eyed Jean-Claude stands William and a little toddler who is the shape of a gun. Big Gun's child. Baby Gun.
Don't worry, I'm a friend. I don't want to get in your way here. I actually just traveled back in time myself, killed baby Hitler. Honestly, I'm pretty fucked up from it. It was not as easy as I thought. Both of my friends, well, let's just say that the late 1800s weren't the nicest to people. Anyways, I was supposed to kill this one too, on account of I murked his dad. Not sure where the mom is though, but I figured, hey, maybe I could be the mom. Something like that. Oh, shh. It's okay, baby. You're okay. Yeah. He gets a little hyper every time he shoots someone into bits. We've been having a field day.
7:36. I still have time.
Don't worry about it. Actually, it's already taken care of.
A dozen or so sticky notes are taped to the front doors of the World Trade Center. They read, "Don't come to work today. Stinks like ass."
I need your help with something else. Something bigger.
And that is?
The Hollywood elitist deep state.
And when 9:03 a.m. came and those planes hit those towers, nobody was at work. They all went home to be with their families. And it set off a huge chain of events that would change the course of history forever. We're talking about Dunkin' Donuts having a different logo and Starbucks being called Starbacks. Shit like that. Certified cinephiles. What's up, cinephiles? This is your co-host, one, Patrick, and I'm here with Will. And
Your
today,
co-host, too.
I'm co-host, one, and we today are watching a movie that was almost funded by the depart. Start over. And
You did not thought that was great.
what's up, cinephiles? This is co-host number one, Patrick, and with me is
Co-host number 2, the wild man, Willie Woods.
Willie the Wild Man Woods, co-host 2, that's right. And today we got a whole nother episode about Army, has a lot to do with Army guys and the Department of Defense.
Like you wouldn't believe.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, when he's not doing super kicks up to his head, he's whistleblowing. Let's get into it, movie boys. Certified cinephiles.
First off, we just want to thank our new lawyer, Jeff Truffle Shuffle Cohen. Formerly, he hates it when we talk about this, but we told him, look, we're in the business. We have to mention you. And so this is the guy that played Chunk on the Goonies.
We're so stoked.
Yeah. And he's our lawyer now. So we basically, thanks to all of our listeners out there that put us in touch with a variety of lawyers. Thank you so much. Jeff is doing this completely for free. He decided that, he knows the industry really well. He dug himself out of it from being a child actor abused by the system and has dug himself out.
Addicted to drugs at the age of 12.
Yeah. Not by choice. Force-fed drugs at the age of 12.
I've been saying Chunk, no lawyer Chunk. He hates that. Hopefully he can shuffle us out of all of these debacles we've got ourselves into with the deep state, with Hollywood, probably the DOD after today, and of course with our other lawyers who all are scum, and I hate them personally and professionally.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because, for all the listeners out there, I'm a really good judge of character. Patrick would attest to this, that I can spot somebody on the street and I can tell you if they're going to go heaven or hell, just like by looking at them. And
yeah, I trust him. Of course, there's no proof for me to know if he's good at it, but I just trust him based on his confidence alone.
In his handshake, really. In his handshake. Me and Patrick both, we didn't even talk about this beforehand, but after we met with him and we shook his hand, we both in the parking lot were like, what a handshake. Chills down our spines. Yeah, it absolutely was incredible, the chills down our spines with that handshake.
Yeah. It felt like I was inside of Law and Order. He has a really nice office. It was awesome.
Everything is Versace, is encrusted in gems and stones. Imagine the skull of a T-Rex encrusted in stones. He even had a Pikachu encrusted in stones. And we really hit it off because we're both Pokemon fans. We're Poke fans.
Yeah, that I've kind of disassociated when you guys were talking about that bullshit. But
Bullshit.
I asked him, like, wow, where'd all this wealth and riches come from? Just the Goonies from acting? And he, of course, said, I don't want to talk about the acting days.
Yeah. And that was when he showed us his knife collection, which was awesome. And we said, hey, this is the same sort of situation we got into with Frank. And I know that this is sort of a fun thing, but we actually should not be touching these weapons. So he just showed us, and they were really cool. A lot of really cool knives. What was your favorite knife, Pat?
I liked the scimitar. Didn't he have a scimitar?
A centaur?
Is that what that thing's called?
A centaur knife.
A centaur knife. It had a big curve. I thought it was cool. I pictured me cutting off my enemies' heads with it, and my bloodlust kind of got the best of me, and that's when I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you wrecked that bathroom. Don't mean to put that on the pod, but yeah.
Sorry,
wow.
Jeff.
You know the smell when somebody, one of those like sulfur, like they break what do they call those? Smelling salts?
Smelling salts?
It's pure ammonia. So, Patrick has like he's got, they call him Patrick Piss for a couple reasons, and it's not just his corduroys standing up straight. This man.
I'm waving at him right now. You can't see him on camera. I'm waving at him right now. They're standing up. They look like they're about to walk off to the grocery store.
This man will absolutely make your eyes bleed from defecating. It is pure ammonia. It's honestly a modern marvel. It's really, talk about the 7 wonders of the world. That's top on my list.
Will, you're not wrong. My poops do stink, but it's kind of a common misconception with me because my piss is like that of a chemo patient. It comes out red. So a lot of that stench is just coming from my piss.
Wow, a little double trouble. You gotta, I know that we're on the same page, and for all the listeners out there, I know that you probably are on the same page too, but before you sit down to go number 2, you're gonna go number 1 before you go number 2. Every
I can't
time.
not.
Even if it's a little dribble. So it is.
That's why you got to put your
hear ya.
penis in the toilet bowl.
Yeah, it is exactly why. So Jean-Claude Van Damme, he is
those cords stink. Yuck.
enemy of the state number 1. It's not just the U.S. government that has a price on his head. It's Saudi Arabia. It's Iran. It's several countries in Africa.
Davenport, Iowa.
Yeah. Madagascar.
Madagascar too. That
Haiti.
studio. Santa Claus.
Basically, this man was hired as the lead of this movie, Timecop, from 1994. Don't get it mistaken, because the Hollywood elitist deep state has plugged a lot of Timecops out so that you would never see this. And there's a reason. This movie, you will have to jump through hoops to watch. And hopefully, for all of the viewers out there, you can find the right copy.
How did you watch it, Will?
I watched this one through Amazon.
Yeah, I had to pay $3.99 for this.
Yeah.
Can you believe that hoop?
I had to pay $3.99 to watch this. And you're going to have, as the viewer, let me tell you, it's absolutely worth it, because what your eyes are about to witness is something so absolutely insane. And, if you're around people, or you yourself are very fragile with, like, I guess, trigger warning, right? trigger warning, if you are with new technologies that are going to change the way that we even view the world. Like when Steve Jobs
the way we
came out.
conceive ourselves.
Yeah. When Steve Jobs came out and he pulled the iPhone out and he showed the world, this is what we're talking about. Absolutely monumental. And this is
getting
what
chills thinking about Steve Jobs.
we can't even get started on the Jobs because that man, and there's a reason he's still in hiding, and we're going to get into that, but he, just like Jean-Claude Van Damme, was an informant. And there's a reason why.
Sorry, Will, to interrupt again, but speaking of Steve Jobs, that reminds me of your Steve Jobs fat head that you have in your living room. And that reminded me of the Steven Seagal fat head that I sent you over 2 months ago.
Hasn't
can't
arrived.
help but notice.
Hasn't arrived.
I saw that it was delivered.
Was it signed for by anybody? Was there a proof of delivery? I think
just
you
said
should
it was
probably take
delivered.
that up. Who was the carrier?
You have it. I know you have it. Why haven't you put it up?
I would love that. Are you kidding me? You don't trust me? I would love to have the Steven Seagal fathead.
Do you know how much those are? I can't afford to send you another one.
I'm not saying, you don't have to send me another one. I'm sure we'll work it out. You should just send me the tracking. I'll work it out with the carrier.
Did you put it in your
USPS,
bedroom?
FedEx, UPS?
Did you put it on the ceiling in your bedroom?
No, you would see it. We talked about this. It would be right behind me, sitting right here, where the fun happens, right here in the podcast room. In my professional podcast studio, I'd have Steven right here, looking right at me.
I know you said your dream was to have a fat head in every room, so that's annoying.
I'm a fat head myself. Yeah.
No, you have a regular size head. You have a pinhead, if anything.
I do. I got a small head. I have a small head and I have small hands. And I'm sick and tired of the United States. All right, but don't discriminate against me.
They're pretty small.
Well,
they're pretty small.
And I'm sick and tired of the discrimination against people with small heads and small hands. And I will stand up for myself and for others that can't speak up for themselves. So this movie, Pat, Timecop, let's get out all of the drama out of the way here. So this movie, which we will explain in detail and go over all of our favorite scenes, all of that junk. But the reason why we brought it up today was because never before has the military entertainment complex, which is the media sector of the Department of Defense, never have they co-scripted and fully funded a film, signed off on everything, only to have it completely taken away. And the reason why is because the technology portrayed in this film was real.
It's real, folks.
That's the truth. It's very explicit. They're not using the equipment. It's not like Jean-Claude's actually going back in time in this film, but that is precisely, they used their compounds. They made models exact to the machines, and this is exactly how you warp time and space. And the DoD, once they saw how real it was like, this is too powerful for the public. They got cold feet.
They didn't realize how well executed this movie would be made. Van Damme is phenomenal. And yeah, they got cold feet, and they tried to not get this movie made. Or I'm sorry, not made, but they tried to have it put on a shelf somewhere so the public could not see it.
To never be released, and they did their damnedest to make sure that this never released. They threw lawyers at it, they threatened people's lives, and What it came down to was Jean-Claude Van Damme being the hero he is, taking the fall for the entire thing, taking all of the executive producers off of the script, and bankrolling this himself personally.
Wow.
And therefore, he is an enemy to the state. I'm not going to use the T word, but that is how the U.S. government views poor Jean-Claude.
Trans?
Terror.
Oh, terrorist. Yeah. Sorry.
Terror.
That makes way more sense.
They're not going
So I was like, are you making a Chelsea Manning reference? Yeah, he is just like, he's a hero, just like Chelsea Manning, just like Julian Assange, just like Edward Snowden. One of the best whistleblowers of our time. He showed the public that time travel is actually out there.
And was damn good at it too. This movie is not for the faint of heart, but I will tell you this. This is absolutely my favorite movie of all time. Without a shadow of a doubt. This movie is my favorite movie of all time. Yeah.
Wow, he does not say that like you never change your favorite movie.
Nothing even comes close to how absolutely amazing this film is. And rewatchability, suspense, action, comedy, it's all packaged into one beautiful, beautiful film. And this is really cinema at its finest. It's hard for me not to cry when I talk about it because there are so few movies that even get close to this.
It is like almost troubling how good it is. Because it was funded by the DoD, you'd think that those schlubs would have had a bigger hand in making it some shitty state propaganda movie. But this movie has heart. This movie speaks truth to power. And it has a lot of high kicks from Van Damme. God,
yeah.
He is such a good kicker.
He's absolutely incredible. And I mean, you've heard of Fists of Fury.
Did you see how high he was kicking?
He was kicking so high. He could have been kicking over the Empire State Building. Is how high he was kicking.
Yeah.
And that's
pretty
no
much.
Lie. That's no lie. That's no freaking lie.
He does splits at least twice in this movie.
He does splits. He jumps into a split on the counter. What do you
think happens to... Where do his nuts go? Did you think about that?
I thought about it every second in the entire movie.
Where do his nuts go?
They have to retreat. If he's a superhuman in one way, why can't he be a superhuman in several other ways? That is truly the question that needs to be asked.
Huh. What the hell?
I know. Talk about manifesting your reality. This was hands down. I mean, this is a man that can do anything he wants, including taking his nuts and sucking them right back up, belly style. You ever play around down there? You ever see how you could probably do that?
So he sucks them back from whence they came? I thought maybe he was shoving them into his ass.
Well, you might be onto something. You might be onto something there. So
you play a game where you suck your balls up?
Well, I'd be
Sorry,
remiss.
I'm drunk. I'm drunk today.
I would be remiss if I didn't. Say that I've tried sucking my balls back up through my anus. But have I been very successful with that? No. But also, am I Jean-Claude Van Damme? No way. I'm not even close.
God. What I would give to be Van Damme for just one day.
even in his ripe old age, I would take it. I would give a lot. I would give several days of my own life to live like him, even
Yeah,
as an
absolutely. I would
enemy
give
of the
up.
state.
I mean, we should try and get him on the pod. We're both enemies of the state. We're both EOS.
We are currently being hunted by what started as being gang stalked by Patrick in the grocery store. We are currently being followed by several agents. They are parked outside both of our current residences in dark vehicles, and we are on constant surveillance. Yesterday, I went to Trader Joe's, was followed. I went to Vaughn's, it's another grocery store. I was followed, and it was pouring rain out. And I tried to lose them, and sure enough, they found me again. So I was being followed. So
They keep coming into my house when I'm sleeping. They're not just staying in the dark van outside. They are, at nighttime, they are coming into my house and they are going through my pantries. They are eating my food. They're opening cans of beans and sticking their fingers in stuff. So this has to come to an end. When will it finally?
you sick fucks. This is exactly what the Black Panther movement was talking about. The CIA is so crooked, and they will stop at nothing. They will harass you till your last breath.
The CIA
And-
is the real T words.
Yeah, they really are. And we're not afraid to say it. We have an amazing boss ass lawyer, and he's going to protect us no matter what we
And
say.
unlike all of our other pussy ass old lawyers, he said he loves it when we talk about him on here. He said, talk about him the whole episode. Free advertising. Because he knows show business. He knows our field. We are in show business, technically. And he understands that we have big mouths, and we like to talk about our lawyer, Jeff Cohen, who used to be Chunk from the Goonies.
I mean, think about it this way. And this is what we said to him. We were like, look, it's a podcast, and we have a lot of fans that are currently, helping fund us and our legal troubles. And we have a lot of enemies. We have more enemies than we do fans. We have a ton of fans, but we have a lot more enemies. And we need to be able to converse. No matter what you tell
We
us
sat
not to
down
say,
with him.
it's hard for us. It's too exciting.
It's too exciting. We love it. So when we met up with Jeff, we sat down at a table. We told him we have a podcast. He said, how many listeners you got? And then I pulled a piece of paper out of my pocket. I put it on his desk. I slid it across the table. He opened it. It read, look how many followers PetSmart has on Instagram. He pulls out his phone. He sees that PetSmart has 216,000 followers. I pull another piece of paper out of my pocket.
Okay,
I slide
yeah.
it across the desk.
Like a boss.
He opens that one, and then it reads, yeah, that's how many listeners we have.
Wow. That literally gave me chills just thinking about that moment, because it was such an incredible move. The look on his face.
I didn't
was
tell
like,
Will about this plan I had either. He was like,
Yeah.
what are you doing, you maniac?
I know, because it's not polite to really talk numbers in the showbiz, but to write it down like that and to pass it and to have him check his technology and then to write back down and affirm, yeah, we mean business.
He asked.
Yes, and we mean business.
That's why we're a perfect match, because he means business too.
Yeah. And it's awesome that, he has had a very long history with drug abuse and has really seen the trenches of how low stardom at a young age can be, and how absolutely violent the industry is towards children. He was wow. I
Horrid.
mean, yeah, he was telling us a lot of really crazy stuff about being touched and abused, stuff that he's never like said to anybody, and like about his like own family members, like messing with him and stuff. And we just like really hit it off.
Yeah, it was a really fun time. And we're just stoked. Thank you, Jeff. Sorry that your uncle diddled you, but we are glad that you are our lawyer, and we're stoked that you let us talk about you on the pod.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So with Time Cop, I mean, Pat, you heard it from me, right? This is my favorite movie of all time, but by no means are you going to hurt my feelings if you give me your honest opinion. What'd you feel about this film?
Oh gosh. Jeez. I don't know. I fucking loved it. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Woo.
It was so good. From
Yes.
the opening scene to the ending one, it had me smiling big, crying big, pounding heart, watching big. It was awesome. I love the way that Van Damme kicks. Oh, there's so many beautiful moments in this
Yeah.
movie.
Incredible.
Poor
kicking.
bastard. Maybe tomorrow would have been a brighter day.
Gosh. Oh, I love it.
I love how the time cops, how the way they execute people is improver alert. I love the way how the time cops execute people. They transport them into the sky in the past, and then they land on an old-timey vehicle. And then a guy goes, "Poor bastard, tomorrow could have been a brighter day."
Well, that also gets into some of my favorite parts where, they really explore this, just like the Anarchist Cookbook told plenty of middle schoolers how to make napalm and C4 out of like ramen noodles and styrofoam. This movie wasn't just, hey, here's this technology. This movie was a handbook to a Bible, really, to here's how we time travel. Here are the rules of the road. And if you follow this will bring humanity to a better time where we have a good police force, a police force not with a bunch of like Kyle Rittenhouse radicalists, but we have cool police like Jean-Claude Van Damme and RoboCop.
And a black lady cop.
Yeah, Fielder in this movie, she did a hell of a job, and yeah, a black lady cop would be very important and good.
Yeah, and she was from Colorado in the movie, which is where we're from.
Yeah, that was also so cool that she was from Colorado. And I thought it was really, this is not just the first Colorado future movie that we've talked about, but it's really good.
Yeah. What was the other one?
Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth, yes.
Yeah.
And even though she is a betrayer in the movie, we don't have to talk about this now.
Spoiler alert. Well,
Improver alert.
Improver alert. She is a betrayer. She is such a betrayer. But like I was saying, this does explore the rules of time travel to the point, in such detail that it gave me ideas on how I could probably improve the system if I had access to that technology.
Speak on that, Will. I'm interested.
Great. Okay. Well, first things first. So one of the major rules is that the same matter cannot exist in different timelines, meaning that future me and past me cannot touch. If we touch, that means matter is existing in the same area, and therefore we will implode. Boom. Just like create a black
Makes
hole.
sense in theory.
why wouldn't they have? Okay, so if the rule is touching skin to skin, why not be fully covered? Why not be wearing a spacesuit? Simple.
Yes, that is smart.
And also, I mean, this is going to get into some like minuscule critiques, but basically, there wasn't very good protocol for the government to deal with. If you're going back in time as the time cop to make very tiny, minuscule adjustments, there's got to be protocol for if things go awry. And in this movie, there was not protocol. There was actually no way to tell if things went awry, and things went awry. They went so awry that people didn't remember people, and it got honestly. And this is the main reason why I've watched this movie 6 or 7 times in the last 24 hours is because it's very it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, you texted me at about 5 a.m. You were like, I'm trying to figure out how to build one of these things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what you were talking about.
But the movie, and this is such a beautiful thing that they did by writing it this way and directing it this way, is they don't want you to actually know what timeline you're on, and they just switch it up like that, and it really kind of messes with you.
We don't have any substantial evidence of this, but my theory that I've built after watching this movie 3 times and reading up on it, I couldn't find any information. But my theory is that the DOD didn't even read the script to this movie before they funded it. They saw the finished product, and they realized it condemns them. It condemns the police state. It condemns the state in general. And they hated it, and that was one of the reasons they wanted to pull it. And goddamn, Sir Kix-a-Lot came in and kicked their heads off.
Yeah, it goes to show the power of one man and what he can do for love. So this movie, it starts with Van Damme. He's just a security guard. He's hardly a police officer. Well, he is a police officer, but
he loves his wife.
He's with his wife. They're in their dream home. It's a fixer-upper, but it's a beautiful manor, and they're getting to work on it together. And his wife, Melissa, and he gets called into work one night, and next thing you know, his wife is murdered, and he's supposed to be murdered, but he has a bulletproof jacket on.
What do you think he whispered in her ear at the mall?
He whispered in her ear, he says, I'm from the future, and you got to play along with this. And that's one of those really confusing moments where they revisited it, but then it was different. So I don't know if that was, are we on the same timeline there?
I thought he was whispering horny stuff.
Oh man, he did. He was saying horny stuff. Oh, and speaking of horny stuff, I mean, yes.
How many saxophone sex scenes have we had on this podcast? Because this might be the first one, but it feels like 100.
This is another reason why I've watched it 6 to 7 times in the last 24 hours. The saxophone sex scene in this, it's a lot of, I mean, you're seeing the girl from Ferris Bueller's Day Off in a way that you would have only dreamed of. Was it
her?
Yeah, that's her from Melissa, right?
Are you sure? Because I thought it might have been, but I wasn't sure.
Yes, this was yes. It had
to be. The girl from Ferris Bueller is so hot.
Yeah, you're telling me. And we get to see her in her very beautiful skin, full frontal. You're seeing full nipple. You're seeing her in a very beautiful, vulnerable way. And there's no denying the fact that they had some of the best sex that you could possibly even imagine. But you don't even have to imagine it because... Yeah, you don't even have to imagine it because it was there in front of you. You got to see it.
Oh my God. She is so hot in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
So in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, she plays a teenager. And then but she's
Why did you have to say that?
and then now she's an adult. So in this movie, she's an adult, but she was a teenager, a child in Ferris Bueller.
No, she was of age. She was 32 in Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, actually, that's true. She was 32 in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and in this movie,
If
she
I
was
was sitting
34.
across from Mia Sarah right now at a
What'd you do?
table,
What'd you say to her, Pat?
I'd pull out a piece of paper and I'd put it on the
God.
table. I'd slide it across her.
You
to her.
dog.
She'd open it and it would read, "Look at how many followers PetSmart has on Instagram."
Oh my god.
And then she'd pull out her phone and it would say 216,000.
She's checking.
And then I'd smirk. I'd pull out another piece of paper. I'd slide it across to her. And it would read, "Yeah, that's how many times I want to kiss you."
I love that. You know me and older women. It's honestly, it's my Achilles heel. Older women, I love you. No if, ands, or buts about it. If you're mature, sign me up. And with her, I like to imagine.
Cougar Hunter Woods.
Hey, guilty as charged. I'm a married man. I'm a married man now, but a boy can dream, right? And I like to imagine in your fantasy, Pat, because bear with me. That was quite the fantasy. That I would do everything in my power to make sure it came to fruition. But I like to imagine that you're at a restaurant, a nice Italian place, a place that it's pretty hard to get a table for unless you're booking, like a couple weeks out. Nothing too crazy. It's not like, this is where the stars go to eat, because you're not trying to attract that kind of attention, but it definitely is a nicer restaurant. It's a place that you bring somebody when like, hey, look, I mean business, like you matter to me. And
When you bring someone there when the person is Ferris Bueller's girlfriend.
And the lighting's very low. It's hard to see. And so she takes out her glasses to read the menu. And she takes out her glasses to read on the phone how many followers PetSmart has. That's just something I like to think about. I just like to add that to your
That's
fantasy.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there saxophone music playing?
So here's the kicker. There is a jazz trio that's playing. Very soft jazz. This is music, the way that they're playing. But
Say less.
yeah. But okay, so now you've had your dinner. You had some pasta fagioli, right? The wine is flowing, okay? We're talking like a sweet red. Something that tastes like juice that you can just get carried away with.
And I pick a bottle that I'm going to be dipping into my savings tomorrow.
I'm getting heated thinking about this, man. Okay, so you guys have had a couple. I mean, there's like 3 empty bottles on the table.
Our hands are touching at this point.
You're laughing, you're giggling. You guys are just having so much fun. And you order this bottle, and sure enough, as the wine pours, this man goes on stage to join the trio. And it's none other than John Bon Jovi, but he's playing the saxophone. And he lets it rip.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'm dead serious. How do you like that?
I didn't know he could play sax, but I love that.
And that's exactly what you say to her. And that's exactly what she says right back.
We say it at the same time.
You say it at the same time.
Oh, it'd be hard not to rip my own clothes off at that point.
I think that's what, and you know what, listeners, we'll let the rest of that fantasy play out in your own minds. But subscribe to our Patreon. Let us know in the reviews of our podcast what you think would happen next. And yeah,
Subscribe.
and subscribe.
That's just straight from the mind of Willie the Cougar Hunter Woods.
Hey, that was mutual effort right there, man. I absolutely could not possibly have done that fantasy without you. I really like imagining that scenario for you. And
Me too.
I really feel like it's in the realm of possibilities, and I just feel like the more we put it out there, like we're putting it out there in the universe right now, and therefore it will happen, because why not? I can see it so vividly in my mind. It's just right there, and I can very easily imagine what happens next.
Of course, if you do know that there's a certified cinephiles reading list. The 2 books on it right now for all the listeners are The Secret and The Anarchist Cookbook. So just kind of just like a reading list we like to have to kind of like just get you in our mindsets, just like it's not required, but if you want to kind of get into our minds of a couple guys like us, check out the reading list.
And just so you know, back to the Department of Defense and the military entertainment system. This isn't just once in a while movies. These are several movies that the Department of Defense doesn't just fund, but they actually co-write the script on. This isn't just them signing off on things. This is them having a lot to say and making sure that the movies that are presenting the military from Hollywood are going to...
It's the people that keep coming in my house at night. They kick up dust, and then I cough.
And it's disgusting, you sick fucks. Please leave us alone, okay? Please leave us alone. They're not going to mess with me because I have a katana, a battle-ready katana at my side. And they know exactly what's going to happen because California has make my day laws. Okay?
Join the
Patreon.
Exactly. Join the Patreon so I can hire T-Rex to guard my house.
Air Force One, Apollo 13, Armageddon, Batman and Robin, Battleship, Black Hawk Down, Godzilla from 1998, I Am Legend, Iron Man 1 and 2, the James Bond series, the entire James Bond series, Peter Jackson's King Kong, and guess what? Last Action Hero, the 1993 Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Last Action Hero, was co-scripted by the military entertainment system and the Department of Defense. Oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, and yet people might doubt the fact that they would have something to say about Timecop 1994. Very interesting, isn't it, Pat?
Pretty shady, isn't it? You twats. You can't hide from us.
You can't. So with them stripping their funding and doing everything they can, this is at the first showings of the movie. This is like the movie is done. It is like set. They are going to release it, and the government says, "Hold on a second. This is not what we signed up for. This is not what we funded." And they got their money back because that's what, when it came down for lawyers to battle, that's how they did it. And Jean-Claude Van Damme himself bankrolled that film, made up for all of the lost profits. And you know what? This movie actually made money. The reviews were terrible, but we all know why. And this movie made money. It made millions and millions of dollars, and yet the reviews hated it. But before we get into these awful, disgusting pieces of shit critics that,
Yuck.
in my opinion, don't deserve to... how do I say this? Don't deserve to
Oh yeah,
or
live.
breathe. I was hopping around that word, but you read my mind. We are so in sync. So, Pat, let's start with what was a scene that, made you cry or left you speechless?
Scene that made me cry was his damn wife dies
Oh,
at the beginning. And improver alert, you don't know at the time, but she's pregnant.
oh,
So when
God.
you watch the movie the second time, you're sadder.
That's a double murder right there. That's double homicide right there. And a police officer, this is why we need to protect blue lives. A police officer, his wife being murdered in his own home and he doesn't even know she's got a baby in her.
It's awful.
That, I absolutely agree with you. That was speechless. And the good part about this, and since we are improving your watching capabilities right now, this happens within the first 10 minutes of the movie. So you really can skip that part. It's brutal.
It's barely an improver, and it's just right at the beginning. It's barely an improver alert.
You will
you can just skip
see
it.
the sex.
Just skip it.
You'll see this amazing sex. Absolutely incredible
just fast
sex.
forward through the movie until you hear saxophone.
Absolutely incredible.
And start there. It's a perfect starting point after you've listened to this episode.
Yeah. Let the sex happen. Skip the murder. Get into the time cop. That's the way. This is the way. What's the way that you should properly watch Star Wars films?
You should start with.
What's the method called?
It's called the Maslow hierarchy of Star Wars.
So that's exactly what you need to do with this movie. You start with the saxophone. You start with the sex. Honestly, I kind of like the flirting before the sex. I like to think, I like to see the relationship. I like that tension to build. And that really...
What you should do is stop the podcast right here. Well, not right here. Listen to what I have to say and then stop it. You should listen to up to this point, pause the podcast, watch from the saxophone bit to the end where he goes back into time to save his wife, pause that, come back to the pod, finish the episode, finish the movie, listen to the whole episode of the podcast again, and then start the movie from the very beginning and watch the movie.
And this is why I love you so much. You truly were if you guys don't know, Patrick has like a form of schizophrenia like Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind, where he can just piece together things in a way that us normal neurotypical people just really can't. So yeah, thank you, Pat, for that. That's absolutely incredible. On that note, we'll take a quick break and to get a word from our sponsor, because I have to pee.
Oh, sponsor. What's up, everybody? Are you tired of using your legs? What's up, everybody? Did you get hit by a car? Fall down some stairs? Get in a fight with a bull? Or just tired of using your legs? Come on down to Waldo's Wheelchair Warehouse. Come on down to Waldo's Wheelchair. Come on down to Waldo's Wheelchair House. Come on down to Waldo's Wheelchair Warehouse. He's got all sorts of wheelchairs. One's for little butts. One's for bigger butts. One's for Vietnam vets. He's got some crutches. The crutches he has aren't as good as the wheelchairs. He has a few crutches, but it's mostly a wheelchair warehouse. So come on down to Willie's Wheelchair Warehouse. Oh, sorry, Waldo. Will just got back, so I called him Willie. Go on down to Waldo's Wheelchair Warehouse for all your wheelchair needs. Roll on.
And we're back. Okay, so Pat, you know what time it is. Um,
This my shit. All the thing going around now back. It's the golden tier bit, y'all. God tier bit, y'all.
We're talking God tier scene here. This is the scene above all of them. This is the scene that really lets you as a listener know what really made what really made this movie for us. Yeah, Pat, what do you got?
Okay. Your God tier scene is probably my God tier scene as well. But I don't want to do that this week. I'll just choose my second top God tier scene. And that's one of the first fight scenes when that guy pulls out those brass knuckles. Because that's when you get the first splits. Van Damme does the splits. But that guy pulls out those brass knuckles, and Jean-Claude Van Damme kicks the absolute shit out of this guy.
Absolutely.
Relentlessly. It's awesome.
Unstoppable force. And you deal with a lot of Terminator sort of bad guys in this where they just keep coming back and they never die and they keep getting up. But fight scene after fight scene, Van Damme kicks total ass in this. And I'd have to agree with you that fight scene's probably the strongest. It's definitely the most emotionally charged. So it's like, oh, here you go. But for me, my God tier scene is obviously when Macomb, the evil senator that's now running for president,
The main villain.
the main villain, is finally, in this room with his past self, and he's got a bomb hidden in this house, this beautiful house, and Van Damme gets the old version of him. Surprise, guess what? Matter can't exist in the same time plane as other matter. Mm-hmm. So Van Damme shoves the past senator into the future senator who's now running for president, and they freaking explode. Absolutely incredible.
Not just explode, they turn into like a big meat wad.
You see some transformations that will make you want to throw up. It'll make you want to throw up. It is absolutely disgusting what you witness happening. Absolutely disgusting. Think like Total Recall. Think Ghostbusters. And I would say think like Exorcist. And mix those all together. That's what happens right then and there. Right then and there. But that's my God tier scene because this guy who is so hard to beat, he has his own prototype of the time machine. He's warping time and space as he pleases, doing whatever he wants. And holy cannoli, is he evil? And here we go.
So
we finally defeat him. All right, Pat, I know you hate this part, but we got to do it. You got to do it. Okay, scenes or things that you might agree with the critics on. Come on, you can do it.
Love it.
There's got to be something.
No.
There's got to be something.
Oh.
There's got to be something.
It hurts.
There's got to be something.
It hurts. Ow.
Hey, there's got to be one thing.
Ow.
Just one.
I got it.
Okay, what is that? Mm-hmm.
I wasn't stalling.
I didn't think you were. Yeah, I know.
I could agree with a couple of the critics, even though I hate them. A broken clock's right twice a day, as they say. I agreed that the old version of the senator had a bad hair. His toupee was ugly.
That's it?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I'll take that. For me, I will say, I have watched this movie upwards of probably a baker's dozen amount of times, half of that being within the last 24 hours. I'm still not just a little confused. I'm very confused on how the timelines work, and I'm not entirely sure if the ending makes much sense to me, and I do like it. It's kind of like a puzzle. Like eventually, I'm gonna understand it, and I'm gonna love it that much more, like a Charlie Kaufman sort of thing. But yeah, I know there's a deeper message. I know that there's a lot going on, but that's just a tiny little, it for all of the confusion I have, I do agree with the critics that are confused, but I will never hold it against this film. I actually feel like the confusion makes this film better because
Yes.
the, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And
Yes.
this movie is got a lot of different answers.
And when you do a time travel film, you are always opening yourself up to lots of different plot holes and things, and it does get confusing. So yeah, I understand that. And I hope you just keep watching it, buddy. I hope you figure it out.
I'll get there. Yeah, I really will. I really will. I'm actually watching Inception tonight to try to unlock that a little bit more to help guide me into this one. Because yeah, it's dealing with a lot of heavy. It really is very Charlie Kaufman-esque. It's
like Schenectady for sure. I think this movie has a lot of parallels with Schenectady, New York. I just want you to know, just give your brain a rest too. You don't want to think too hard about these films.
No, it's totally fine. All of that aside, I actually don't need to sleep that much anymore. It's really cool, and so
Why
yeah,
not?
I've just been so I'm on this new supplement, a nootropic called Alpha Brain, and it's absolutely marvelous. And so yeah, you take it. I haven't had to sleep.
What side effects are there?
Well, I don't think that I think the side effect of me not, I think a side effect is me not sleeping. I think that isn't the original purpose. The original purpose of it, the main effect, is to make you smarter.
Oh, well, that's true. To bring up Steve Jobs for another time, and other smart genius guys like Elon Musk, they never sleep. They're the smartest guys in the universe. They never sleep. So, successful smart guy never sleeps. So, I get that. That is incredible. I might have to start trying these.
Yeah, I'll send it your way. I'll send you some because I got a whole case of them. They were they're at Sam's Club on sale. So I got a whole case of them.
Send me some. Don't be greedy.
I won't. I've been trying to get everybody on my block to take them off my hands. Because here's the thing is like, once you feel the power of Alpha Brain, you're just going to be able to, you're going to want everybody else to have it. It's this little tiny blue pill. That's it. It's a little tiny blue pill.
Oh my God.
And
I just had the
incredible.
best idea.
What?
Let's start putting them in our new lawyer's coffee. Let's put them in Jeff's coffee. Imagine that guy's already so powerful. If he started taking Alpha Brain,
yeah,
he would be the best lawyer in the universe.
We don't want to give it to him. We don't want to tell him we're giving it to him because then he's going to be like, whoa, like he's not going to keep taking it.
It's easier to just sneak it into him.
Yeah, it's just this little tiny blue pill, and it's 10 milligrams, and it says AD on it, and it's just amazing. You just feel so euphoric. You feel so awake, and
wow.
Yeah, I love it. I feel so focused. Like my attention span is like just right on all the time. And you could just just keep taking them. Yeah, they're like candy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, I got to get my hands on those. I have a brain exercise for you. This question's been stinging the tips of my synapses for a while now.
Okay.
Since I've been watching Timecop. What would you do with a time machine?
If I had a time machine, and this is a very easy question for me.
Good.
First things first, I'd go back in time. I'd find 19-year-old Steve Jobs. I'd go right up to
Okay.
him in his garage and I'd say, "Hey, you boys need a third?" And they say no, and I'd say, "Well, look what I can do." And I'd pull out my MacBook Air, my 2015 MacBook Air,
Oh my
and I'd
god.
show them, "This is what we should be making. This is
That
the
is
personal
so
computer.
smart.
Look at all this technology. This is a personal computer. I want to make this." And yeah, so not only would I be like investing into Apple on the ground floor, but also
Wow.
I would be one of the founding fathers of Apple, and Steve Jobs would be like my like
Number
sort of
2,
confidant.
number 3.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Then I could probably take Cindy Crawford on a date.
Well, don't get greedy. You already
Well,
had a good answer.
all right, what would you do?
Stop the January 6th insurrection. Duh. I'm not
You
greedy
think you could
like
stop
you.
that?
Yeah.
Well, if I could stop that,
By
that would
myself.
be great.
No. You already picked. You want to be rich. I'm a hero.
Dang.
I would stop all those. I would stop the QAnon shaman from getting into Sir Nancy Pelosi's office. I would stop them in a heartbeat just by myself.
That's amazing. I wish that was my answer. I'm actually really upset it wasn't my answer.
It's my duty as a radical centrist to protect this country.
I just love that answer. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
But enjoy your Apple wealth, William
Well-
Bean Woods.
I will. Okay, here's the thing: is I will.
Your middle name's Bean, right? Because you
Yeah.
have the same middle name as Kobe. That's how I remember it.
So if I am rich, so I would be very rich by that point. I'd be rich, and we would have to set up something so that we would notify each other of the same timeline. But wait, no, I would know because I have.
Don't try and
I
save
would know
yourself
you.
now. You
Well,
already
I'm just
answered.
saying. No, I'm just saying that I would just make sure that like you're taken care of. I would invest money into your
I won't
operation.
need it. I'll be a hero. And guess what, Will? That wasn't a brain game. That was a moral question, and you failed.
Okay, well, sue me, just like Chris Angel. Okay, just like Chris Angel, go ahead and sue me. Okay.
He's suing me too. We're on the same side. I just wanted to ask you. And you disappointed me, yes, but we're still on the same side. Do you
Well,
even want to do the last segment?
Of course I do. Of
Then
course I do.
let's get to it.
I just get defensive because you had a really good answer. Okay,
Well,
well, this
I'm the one
movie.
that came.
What?
I'm the one that came up with the question.
Yeah, that's
So I already-
true.
Anyway,
I was just flying off. I was just flying off the cuff. I was flying off the
You had
cuff.
Steve Jobs on the mind.
I'm a Jobs
Just
man.
don't
What
be
can I
so
say?
greedy. Don't be so greedy.
Right. So this movie had terrible reviews. This movie, the Hollywood elitist deep state,
Is that
in conjunction with the
sound
DoD,
effects?
they were, when they knew they couldn't stop this movie from being released nationwide in theaters, worldwide even in theaters, they tried their best by smearing it, a huge smearing campaign. So this is another test to the readers out there, just like we did last episode. Yeah, let us know if you think these are real or fake, because are these real people that are reviewing these, or are these just bots made
Might
up
be bots.
baloney? Okay, so this is from Andy Rogers of the Chicago Sun-Times. Directed by Peter Hyams, without an ounce of suspense, too much testosterone, and little or no reason, Timecop takes the fun out of what has to be one of the most enduring human fantasies to go back and make things right. Wow.
Oh my god.
Okay, Andy Rogers of the Chicago Sun-Times. Too much testosterone in a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Little or no reason.
This
I don't
guy
know.
is a
Maybe
soy
going-
boy.
Yeah, maybe going back in time to save your pregnant fucking wife is a little or no reason to you, Andy Rogers of Chicago Sun-Times, but that's a pretty big reason for me. And I would, I don't know, maybe the fact that, I'm an enemy of the state, that I need to be in the best shape of my life, and I've made an entire career out of it, being Jean-Claude Van Damme. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, sure. I'm going to come off a little too much testosterone. Good grief.
That's like saying, oh, I had too much breakfast. You can't have too much testosterone.
Exactly. It's the most null in point, absolutely void point of view. And if I was as stupid as you, I would simply walk off of a bridge. I would sit in the emergency exit row of an airplane, and I would open the door and fly out. That's what I would do if I was you.
I would go into a supermarket, go into the hardware section, find a hammer, pick it up, bash your brain in with it. You idiot.
Let the whole world that's in that supermarket witness that. And they're going to be like, why did this guy do this? It's because you're a stupid piece of shit. Okay?
And then I'd
Oh my
walk up
God.
and be like, read this review he did. And then they'd be like, oh, thank God he did that to himself.
Yeah. You sick fuck. Oh my
You
God.
rotten pervert.
Okay, so here we have this one is just flat out disgusting, but I picked it to read. This is from Mary Jacobs of the Washington Post. She wrote, "The super silly effort strays quite near the watchable thanks to its Looney Tunes time travel angle. This super silly effort strays quite near the watchable thanks to its Looney Tunes time travel angle." How
Really
does it even
dumb
make-
sentence.
How does that make any sense? Have you ever heard of
It's
a
a
comma
really bad
before?
sentence.
This super silly. I'm trying to punctuate it myself. This
This
super
super
silly.
silly effort strays quite near the watchable, thanks to its Looney Tunes time travel angle.
Oh my God! I can't even hold my breath that long. Good
It's a
grief.
terrible sentence. If I was on a date with Mary Jacobs of the Washington Post, I would be.
What would
I
you
would
do?
pull out a piece of paper, and I'd put it on the table. And as I was pushing it over to her, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, hopefully you can read, you dumb bitch." And then she would take it, and then she would open it, and it would read, yeah, this is a bomb," and then she would explode.
And on that concludes our episode of Time Cop. Feel free to tune in next week with another amazing episode of Certified Cinephiles, where we go over some of Hollywood elitist deep state. Absolutely terrible, gross, sticky fingers touching absolutely amazing art. And we destroy this industry from the inside out. And we get rid of all the poison.
Movie boys.
Certified Cinephiles.